Hello everyone, in this video I'm going to create a key vault with Terraform, and I have created a folder, okay, Azure KV, and again this code is also going to be in my GitHub account. So I'm going to start with that Terraform code, and again my provider block is actually in this provider.tf file, but for you, you want to uncomment this and configure your provider, and you want to create a service principal by running this command. Okay, azadsp create for RBAC name, and then name of the your service principal, and provide the contributor role. Let me just put it back in here as well. Okay, you can also do with az login, but I won't recommend that one. Okay, now over here, so what I need is I need a key vault. So let's start with a resource and look at that, what how much support I'm getting from my IDE. So first I'm going to create a resource group. Let's just call that RG uh, KV. So there is a resource group for the KV. Location, let's just do East US. That's my favorite location. And I usually keep the same name. This is actually the reference for the resource group, but I typically use the same thing for the name to keep things simple. So I'm just going to use RG KV in here. So next I need another resource, and that resource is going to be for the key vault. So I'm going to search for key vault, and so yeah, I see Azure key vault right there. So I'm going to double click on it and see that a whole bunch of stuff things got populated. So over here, so resource, so I'm going to call it AZKV, uh, AZKV, and that probably needs to be unique globally. So AZKV 00100, okay, something like that. Now location, since I have created it's all going to be created inside this resource group. I can now get it from the resource group. So let's just do that as your resource group, and if you put a dot, it's going to get the reference of this KV, get that, and then put another dot, get the location. It's like object oriented programming, right? Just calling methods and methods and methods. And what is the name is gonna be for this one? And again, as I said, I'm gonna use the same name that I have here, just for the simplicity. Resource group name, again I'm gonna go back and call Azure resource group, and then again dot, and then dot. This time I'm gonna use the name. Okay, now SKU and the tenant ID is something I need to figure out. So let me see if I have already kept that in somewhere in this file. I don't think I have it, so let me just quickly get that one and come back here. Give me 1 second. All right, I got the tenant IDs, but the SKU, I need to figure out what that is. Okay, what can I use? So this time I'm just gonna go and actually just do a Google search, key vault SKUs. So let's see what I get. So pricing details, key vault, and let's see if I can get it just from here. And key vault, okay, we have standard and we have premium. So I'm just gonna go with the standard. Okay, so let's just call it standard, and that should give us a very basic key vault without any access policies, anything like that. So let's just like I always start small. So let's just go to that folder. So here let's do cd and then 02 to get us to the folder. And here I want to start with the terraform init is the command that you need to do. So again, it's going to go and look for the provider, which is the Azure RM. Okay, and it's going to downloading the provider from Azure RM. Excuse me for the background noise. All right, once we have the init command, the next thing I always do is the terraform and then validate. So that's gonna validate my code, and it says, hey, it's successful, the configuration is valid. The next thing I do is the format, terraform fmt, and it just formats the code if there is any misformatting, like if say I have like this. Okay, and watch what happens once I run this code, and I was expecting that it will fix it. It did not for whatever reason. So let me just refresh. Yeah, there we go. So I had just had to refresh. So it formatted the code really nicely for me. Or once the plan is done, the next thing I want to do is Terraform plan. Okay, so the Terraform plan should tell me what is going to happen if I run this code. Okay, it's not actually going to deploy anything, but it's going to look at it, look at my file. So it's going to say, hey, if you do this, it is going to, Terraform will perform the following actions. It's going to create this key vault. Okay, and it's telling you some stuff, and it's going to the resource group will also be created. Okay, now it's saying that hey, you didn't use the dot out option to save this plan. So let's show that how to use that one. So you can save this plan in out file. You can call it like a terraform plan dot uh, let's call it terraform kv dot plan. Okay, and you just save that whole plan in a file. So that's all you are doing in this one. Let's see if that works. And now what we'll do, so the plan that we have now, it's saved in this particular plan file. So let's just run this command. So this time we're going to run the terraform. Okay, terraform, and then apply, and this time we're just going to use that terraform kv. So terraform kv.plan, that file. And so if you hit enter, it's already looking at the plan that you have created, and it's still going to ask you, wait, do you really want to do that? Do you really want to do this deployment? Oh, it didn't really actually ask. So this time it's just deploying. So if you use the apply, Terraform apply without uh, this plan, it is actually going to ask you, hey, do you want to create? And you have to say yes. But since you have provided a file already, Terraform is thinking that you are pretty certain that you really need to create this file from the planned actions that you have already saved. Now, if you're seeing it created the KV, now it's creating the Azure Key Vault. So once this is done, we're actually going to go back to our Azure and make sure that we have the Key Vault resource available to us. But I'll show you some problem with the resource because we have not deployed everything that we need. Just having a key vault doesn't give you uh, a lot of options. You need key vault access policies, and you also need some networking stuff to be properly defined before you can actually access those key vaults. So let me just pause until it's done. It shouldn't take too long, but I'm just gonna pause for 1 second. Alright everyone, so it's got created and it says two resources created, and again I can do terraform and then state and then list, and it should list exactly two resources, one for the resource group, another for the key vault. So let's just go back to our Azure environment again. What we'll do, and this resource group is really we okay, that's part of different video. So let's see if we have a key vault resource. So rgkv is there. So if I open that one, I am expecting, again, sorry about the background noise, it's work from home situation. Anyway, so we have this key vault that we have created. So if you look at it, azkv001100, that's the key vault that we have suggested. Now, just because you have this key vault, it's actually not very useful. For example, if you try to go to the keys, let's see what happens. All right, move to a little bit of quieter place. So here's the problem. So you have created the key vault, but if you go to the keys or to the secret, most likely what you're going to see is this. Okay, the operation list is not enabled in this key vault access policy because there is no access policy. Okay, if you go there, you need to create an access policy and you have to allow certain individuals to access the key vault. we have not done that. So it's a basic key vault that we have created, and of course you can add the access policy by hand, but you can also add that to the code as well and create the access policy so everything works properly for you. The other thing that can create a problem is the networking. Right now, you're saying, hey, allow everybody to connect to your key vault, which is not a good idea. You should only allow selected network and selected IP range. And over here, maybe you're allowing your own IP that you're using at the moment to connect to the key vault. So, but what you have at least a key vault resource within Azure that you can play with. So either you can modify your code, or uh, you can go and add the access policies to do something with the key vault. Um, Let me think if I what to do next. All right, let me pause for a second. All right, I'm just looking around and see. I'm trying to find any access policy resource if there's any. So over here, resource. If I say Azure RM access CESS policy. So here what I'm saying, the Azure RM key vault access policy. This is kind of what I want. So let's click on this one, see what kind of stuff I get. So this is interesting because usually what I get things like this, and then I get access policy, and then if I do this, usually I get some stuff. Okay, so here it's saying I need the key vault ID. Okay, what else do I need? I need the tenant ID, and I need an object ID. That's what I think I need. Okay, or an object ID or the application ID. One of those I need. So I have one application that I have created. I might use that ID for this one. So let me get couple of things here. So tenant ID is right there. So I already have that. Okay, I'm gonna put it right here. Key vault ID is gonna be a reference. So I'm gonna say Azure key vault dot the reference dot then ID. Now application ID is gonna be something that I have already registered by running a command like azad create for RBAC, right? So that's what I'm gonna get. Uh, so that one you can, if you have created something, you can do that also via the portal. So if you go to the Azure Active Directory, let me just go there, Azure Active Directory. If you go there, I don't need this, let me get rid of this as well. In this one, if I go to the app registration and let's look at what kind of app I have, look at all application. And here is the one that I have created for these Terraform exercises, okay? So if I look at, here is the object ID, this is the application ID. So let me copy actually both of them. So this is gonna be the application ID, add the quotation mark around it. And let's just do the object ID as well. So here is my object ID, okay? So what I'm trying to do here, what I'm trying to say, okay, I'm trying to give this guy access to the keyboard. So you will still see the same problem that you don't have access. But if I use this guy to access the policy, this guy should be able to do that. Okay. So let's validate if we can do that. So let's do the Terraform plan again and save it to the Terraform for kv.plan file, just like we have done before. So Terraform is idempotent. So things that already got deployed, it should not deploy. Things that are new, that is what it's gonna add. That's how it works for the most part, unless there are a few things that needs a complete destruction of the package. Like sometimes the networking, you have that kind of stuff. So now I'm gonna do the same thing again. I'm gonna apply the Terraform with the plan. And the plan said it's gonna add this access policy. So let's see how the access policy part works. And this is a very, very important one. So now it's creating the access policy. And let's see if this is successful. Now, one thing I forgot to do here, I should have put a name. Usually there is a name variable here. Name. Oh, there is no name. Interesting. So there's no name. So don't worry about it. So I'm just gonna use the way it is and give it few seconds to complete. Let me pause for 1 second. All right, one thing I definitely forgot to do is the permissions. Okay, you do need to provide the key permission and the secret permissions in this block so that this policy actually knows what to do. So once this is created, I'll show you what it is and then we'll rerun this code. I'm going to pause it for 1 more second. All right, I actually decided to stop this and added a little bit of stuff in there. So I added the key permissions. And what I noticed, application ID is an optional parameter. So I have commented out this code. And actually, let me just get it off, hit here and put it outside if I need later. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to create another block exactly like that. Now I'm going to use for a user. And for the user, I need to get my user ID. So let's just go to Azure one more time. And there's my user. That's the user object ID. Let's get that one. And over here, I'm going to add my object ID. And I'm going to run Terraform validate one last time. Okay, and it says configuration is good. So we are going to do our plan again and see if that works. Okay, same drill. So as soon as the plan is done, I'm going to try to deploy this code one more time. Okay. Uh, okay, so the plan is now done. So let's now do the apply and see if that works. So I'm going to pause for a second again, and once the deployment is done, we'll start. And at least if you look at it, it says that it's creating the access policy for the AP, and the access policy. The first one is for the service principal, and the next one is for the user. And look at that, both of them added successfully. Excellent. So this one went really well. So let's go back to the key vault. So what I'm looking for now, so if I go back to the key vault and if I refresh this, I should see that there are two different things should show up in here. So refresh and look at that. So here is the user that showed up, and there is the access. Uh, Here is what this the service principal that I also created the policy. So if I go so and over here, what you're seeing, I have provided some key permissions and some secret permission. I didn't provide any certificate permission, right? So if you think about the secret, I have the get list and delete. And if you go in my code, here is the get list and delete. For key, we have provided whole bunch. So if you go back to the portal again, and so if you look at the key permissions, I have a whole bunch, all of them that were defined, they're all in here. Okay. Now, if I go to the keys, I should not see any problem. So remember the error that we had, like no key permission denied, things like that. So we are not seeing that anymore. Now over here, I can definitely, now can I create a secret? So let's just try. So let's see that I cannot create a secret because I have not provided the permission to do that. For keys I did, I can hit generate and create a key, okay, manually. Okay, you should also be doing that with the code, but at least our key vault in a better shape. So let's just go back and actually update the code just a little to at least add a create in here. So I know there was uh, uh, there was one. Once we ran the validate last time, it told us what are the available options. Well, actually, we can just look at here and get the available options. So for the secrets, or actually from the access policies, here are the options. So we need the set. I think the set will do it. Okay, the set will be able to let us create the keys. So let's just go back and add the set in here. So let's add the set, and again, since you're making a change, you gotta go back and create the plan again. Okay, so once you have the plan, you are gonna rerun your apply one more time. And I think that would be a good spot to stop this video. And in the next one, what we'll do, we are going to use this key vault, and then we're going to update the code that we have written previously to deploy a VM, where in this VM code, okay, we have the username and password in clear text. Okay, what we'll do, we're going to update this code. We're going to have a much improved version of Azure VM. We'll deploy this VM, but we'll get the password from the key vault that we are deploying here. Okay, sounds good. So over here, let me come back to our current folder over here. Let's just do the apply the very last time. And once we have it deployed, what we'll do, we'll just validate that we can create a key. I mean, that's a very common thing for everyone to do. So it says it's modifying, which is good. And I only added the rule for the user, not for the other one. So now it should be done. Let's just go back. So for me, I'm logged in. So if I refresh this, it should show up as 4 permissions instead of 3. There we go. It showed up as 4. So now if I go back to secret, and now I can generate a secret. Okay. So I can say whatever user value and just create, and I should be able to create that one. Okay. All right, I think that's all. It should be a pretty good starting point for a lot of you. So I'm gonna give this code as well. So let me see. The only thing that I want to add to Git is this file. And let me go to Git. And is it added? No, it's not added. So let's just do add. And then let's do Git. I need to go up a folder and do a Git status on it. And there we go. So this is the file that I have added. And so just to git commit /m added code for Azure Key Vault and access policy for users and service principles. Let's see, principle. Okay, and that should do it. So let's just push the code to my GitHub repo. Let's see where we are. So if we go there, I should be seeing 2 different folders. Okay, so and this one is the Key Vault one, should have only 1 folder, and there's everything. So you can download the whole file if you want to test, create a service principal, update this. If you're using AZ login, uncomment this one and keep this section commented, and you should be able to run this code and have your key vault and access policy well defined. So go have fun. Thank you for watching.